You're watching Taste the Victory.
What's up everyone? Today we got one of the most talked about decks in the format, and that is for good reason. A lot of people are worried that Beelzemon will be the absolute undisputed best deck in the format. I don't think it's going to be that crazy running away with all the wins, but it is definitely going to be one of the decks that you need to build around to be able to compete in the meta. It's absurd. If you have played with the starter deck before, Beelzemon uses the cards from the new advanced starter deck along with a new card Beelzemon X in this new BT12 set to quickly mill cards from its deck for bonus effects either from the mill or from the cards themselves. It's a very aggressive deck that can remove a body, summon another body from trash, or gain memory to extend its plays with its mill effects, and then eventually it goes into Beelzemon X to trash a bunch of security based on your trash count for free, and then swing for game potentially with security attack +1 or a restand from Beelzemon Blast mode. So it's very fast and very consistent in what it does. If you play Light Sworns in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's very similar to that, except it's crazy consistent. So let's go ahead and start looking at the cards to see what we are going to build to support that strategy. And as always, yet I constantly forget to mention it until recently, I have a TCG player affiliate link in the description below. If you're going to pick up singles for this set, please consider using it to support the channel. Thank you. Alright, first up is the egg and rookies. First up we have one egg, which is Yaamon. You can run up to 5 copies of eggs, but usually a lot of decks will run 4 because they want to make sure they see that specific egg instead of a slightly suboptimal one and then be stuck with it for a turn. So in this case we are running 4 because we want to mill our trash as fast as possible. The new starter deck Yaamon has when attacking once per turn if the Digimon has Wizard or Demon Lord trait, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. That is once per turn, but it is on every swing. So that adds up quickly along with other cards in this deck that have the same effect to trash the top 2. So we want that at 4 to make sure we see it and quickly fill up trash. Starting with our rookies, we have Impmon X Antibody. This digivolves over another Impmon for free regardless of color. It is 4 memory to Heartslam, which is pretty expensive for a rookie, 2000 DP. On play, or when digivolving, you play trashing 1 object card from your hand. You may return 1 Digimon card with Evil, Wizard, or Demon Lord in its traits from your trash to your hand, and then inheritable when attacking once per turn, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. Similar, but a little bit less restrictive than the Yaamon egg. Really great inheritable because paired with the egg and another card in the deck, we are able to quickly trash like 6 off of a perfect stack. It's kind of crazy. And in a small pinch, it is a really nice on play or when digivolving effect to get back a Beelzemon or something else that you need to go for game. Then we have just one of the old Impmon from BT2. It is on deletion, trash the top 3 cards of your deck. So it's nice to have there out on the field as a threat to be popped to further your game plan with mills to deter an opponent's effect or something like that maybe. But usually you're just going to swing into security and not really care about it too much, hoping it gets deleted so you can chip away your opponent's life total while also filling up your trash quickly because 3 from the top is a lot. Then we have Impmon from X2. This is 3 memory to Heartslam, 1000 DP. When this card is trashed from your deck, if it wasn't trashed by X2 Impmon's effect, you may trash up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. So this card, for that effect alone, is incredibly good because if you mill this off of the other Impmon from BT2, that is 6 in trash if you decide to use all 3 right there. But if that wasn't good enough, you also get to unplay, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, and add 1 card with Beelzemon in its name or an Ai Mako, and then put the rest at the bottom of your deck. And it's inheritable, it gives any Beelzemon in its name this turn plus 3000 DP. Huge DP boost, and a nice consistency card to see that one piece you might be missing, or an Ai Mako to make sure you're able to reduce costs and stack your mills for next turn when you play the Ai Mako. It's really good. And here is some interesting ruling facts. This effect is you may, so if you really don't want to because you might deck out and lose and don't have lethal just yet, you can choose to not do the effect off of the mill effect. Also, if you do it though, it is up to 3 cards, so you can only mill 1 if you do want to increase your trash count but not risk specking out instead of all 3 of them. And then finally, this card cannot be milled again off of itself, so that also includes on the field and any inheritables underneath it. So let's say you have a Pagumon that on deletion will mill 2 off the top of your deck. And this Impmon is the card underneath that Pagumon. It does not trigger, because sure, it was the Pagumon effect that is triggering and milling it, but it was underneath this Impmon. When a Digimon digivolves over another card, it gains those effects and are now the top Digimon's effects. So that still counts as milled by Impmon, so in that scenario, the Pagumon egg would not mill this Impmon and trigger its effect because it was underneath this same copy of this Impmon, so it won't trash it. Fun trivia there, so you know what to look out for in your tournaments. After that, we have the new Impmon from the starter deck. This is a 3 memory to Heartslam, 1000 DP. When attacking, if you have 20 or more cards in your trash, this Digimon may digivolve into Beelzemon for your trash for the digivolution cost of 3, ignoring its requirements. And inheritable, your turn once per turn, when a card is trashed in your deck, delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. Inheritable is great to easily pop memory floodgates and other annoying rookies like that, and then when attacking is incredibly important in the late game. If you mill this off of X2 Beelzemon and get this extra body out, you're presenting lethal half the time if you have a Beelzemon to warp into, especially the Security Attack +1 starter deck Beelzemon. That covers the rookies. Let's move on to the champions. First up is Wizardmon, the Canon Evolution line champion of Impmon. He has 5 memory to Heart Slam, 5000 TP, 2 memory to Digivolve over Purple level 3. He has the effect when this card is trashed from your deck, gain 1 memory. And that means when it is sent from the top of your deck directly to the trash, you are gaining an extra memory, which is huge to be able to extend plays, especially if you hit multiple of this off of one like X3 Impmon, for example. You get huge memory, and it's usually enough to win game if you weren't expecting it. Inheritable, when attacking, you may reveal 1 purple card in your hand and return it to the top of your deck. The Inheritable is also an incredibly fantastic effect because now you can rig your mills. You are beating the casino now because you get to set it up. It's hilarious. It's really important, however, to make sure you can stack something that you need to be milled off of it. Like if you're just 1 memory away and you don't want to risk on praying that you hit a Wizardmon or a Death Slinger in security, if you have another in your hand, you can just stack the Death Slinger and then make sure you're guaranteed the mill to gain that extra memory. It's really useful and goes a long way to be able to rig your mills. After that, we got the X version of him, Wizardmon X Antibody. 6 memory to Heart Slam, 6000 DP, 2 from a purple level 3, Digivolve 0 from Wizardmon regardless of color, and then when Digivolving, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. If this Digimon has Wizardmon or X Antibody in its Digivolution cards, this Digimon gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn instead. So be careful of that wording. You do not get both of these effects. If you are Digivolving over Wizardmon or X Antibody in the Digivolution cards, this thing gains blocker and does not trash the top 2 cards of your deck. Either way, both effects are good. Usually you're going to want to trash the top 2 to quickly fill up your deck count in the early game, but in the late game, that blocker does come up if you need to stop just 1 attack to be able to get another turn for lethal. Inheritable, when attacking, once per turn, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. Fantastic effect to quickly fill up our trash. Between the rookie and the egg we saw, 1 swing with the stack gives us 6 in trash right away at the beginning of the game, and that is not even counting what mill effects we might get off of those to get additional mills or gain memory or other kinds of advantages. It's crazy. Really easy to fill up trash in this deck. That takes care of champions, so let's look at what ultimates we are running. Right away, the first thing you may be starting to notice is that we don't have too many ultimates or champions. We're literally just running the necessary lines and that's it. A typical, more curved out evolution line for a deck would look more like 12 champions and then 8 or 9 ultimates. But in this deck, you are trying to high roll as fast as you can, and 1 stack is all you really need as long as you don't lose it, because you're able to bring out other bodies that can warp, or you can offset it by getting cards back later from your trash. This isn't exactly like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where this deck's trash becomes a second hand, but because of cards we're about to see like Rivals Barrage, you can kind of use it as a reserve and able to get back cards that you milled, because you mill so much. If you don't draw into the cards you are missing, you are likely to mill it and can grab it back later, so we're able to be a little bit more greedy with our options and level 6 ratios in favor of the milling. First up is Baalmon. He has 7 to Heart Slam, 7000 DP, 3 memory to Digivolve over a purple level 4. When Digivolving, trash the top 3 cards of your deck. That alone, you could stop right there. That would be an amazing effect. But also, when Digivolving, this Digimon gains on deletion. If there are 10 or more cards in your trash, you may play 1 Beelzemon from your trash without paying the cost until the end of your opponent's turn. So you can bring this guy out early and not worry too much about the deletion effect, because you get to recover right away with a Beelzemon. Either is scary, so you don't have to worry about being punished too much. Sure, there are some situations where it's kind of bad, because then you don't have a follow-up way to trigger the mill effects off of the follow-up Beelzemon that you played, but you can play around that and make sure you don't put yourself in that position. This is really great insurance on this card. Its inheritable is, your turn while Digimon is Wizard or Demon Lord in its trace, it gets plus 2000 DP, and that is pretty big to make sure we live over security checks. Between that and the X2 Impmon, we get pretty huge and live over almost anything with the perfect stack. It's very valuable. We have one of Baalmon X. This digivolves over the regular Baalmon for free, and it has when digivolving, return 1 X Antibody card from your trash to your hand. We are going to be running it, but because of how much we mill in this deck, we are very likely going to send it to trash, so having 1 Baalmon X to make sure we can always have it available is really important. When digivolving, trash the top 3 cards of your deck. If this Digimon has Baalmon or X Antibody in Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon instead. I would argue this is a little less convenient than the Wizardmon one, because yeah, trashing 3 is great, but the instead effect, meaning you don't trash the top 3 and instead delete a level 4 or lower, is going to be a little bit more situational, I think, than Wizardmon X. However, it's still another good way to pop a blocker, potentially, if people are still running level 4 blockers, or any Floodgate level 3s. Its inheritable is exactly the same as Baalmon, so again, really good to be able to get a big stack, which is important to make sure all our security checks go through. Now we get to the fun part. There is a lot of level 6s in this deck, like level 6s and 7s. Probably the most I've seen of a deck in recent time that isn't something like zoo focused. Alright, so first off, let's start with our level 6s and then we'll go to our 7s. So the ratios here are a bit toolboxing. We want to make sure we have an opportunity to draw into any of these at any given point in the game, or mill them and then get their effects and get them back later. This is definitely something you can play with. Keep testing whatever feels more comfortable to you. This is what I felt was pretty good. I was even doing 3 Beelzemon X2 at one point, just to make sure I always have that removal option available on its when digivolving or when attacking, especially since you could do once in a turn if you don't pass, like up to 4 when digivolving and then when attacking, and then you could potentially delete something huge off of that. So I liked it at 3, but like to make sure you have room for other stuff, you know, for your rookies and for your options and all of that good stuff, to make sure you have space for them. I feel like this is probably the most balanced ratio here to everything. One of Beelstarmon. Feel free to play with this, however. First up, we have X2 Beelzemon. This one is 3 memory to digivolve from a purple level 5, 11,000 DP. When this card is trashed from your deck, you may play 1 Impmon from your trash without paying its memory. When digivolving or when attacking, you may trash the top 2 cards of your deck, then delete one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon. For every 10 card in trash, increase the maximum level by 1. Really useful to delete something in a pinch, and being able to get that free Impmon literally puts you in lethal position sometimes when you were just like a body away from that. It is amazing. Or even like 2 security away, because the potential for him to warp into something with security attack +1 is really good if you if you were able to summon the ST Impmon. So I really like this dude. He's removal with a body and able to fill up your trash quite a lot. Then we have Starter Deck Beelzemon. This one is really great. It's 4 memory to evolve from a purple level 5, 12,000 DP, and his ability to aggro and be able to close out and be able to close the gap in security makes him probably one of the more priority ones you want to go into, because you want to go full foot off the brakes and go into security and just delete everything. When digivolving, trash the top 4 cards of your deck. All turns once per turn. When a card is trashed from your deck, gain 1 memory for every 10 cards in your trash. Your turn once per turn. When a card is trashed from your deck, this Digimon gains security attack +1 for the turn. Really awesome, because he lets you not pass turn potentially, like making himself a 2 cost if you have 20 in trash, and then getting security attack +1, which is for the entire turn, is really important, because not only does he get 2 checks, so does the Beelzemon blast mode when you restand. That is awesome. And finally, we have 1 Beelstarmon. It is 13 memory to Heart Slam, 3 memory from purple level 5, 11,000 DP. When you play this card from your hand, reduce the memory cost by 4 for every 10 cards in your trash. So it keeps the spirit of the old Beelstarmon in there a bit. And with how fast you mill in this trash, you are able to play this for like 5 or 1 memory or free pretty quickly. All turns once per turn. When a card is trashed from your deck, you may play 1 Impmon for your trash without paying the cost. The Digimon played by this effect gains Rush for the turn. Opponent's turn. When opponent's Digimon attacks, trash the top card of your deck. So this card is self-sustaining. It'll trigger its own effect, which is really great. If you know you can set up lethal, you can slam this girl out, and then they go into attack, or you could proc your mill somehow on your own, and then set up an Impmon to be able to warp next turn. It's really useful in a pinch. You may not be using it too often because you're able to like plow through security and win game on your own a lot, but if you need it, it is very useful when it comes up. I would always like at least 1 copy of this. And the new card introduced in this set, Beelzemon X Antibody. This card is what's pushing the deck to absurd levels. It's 4 from a purple level 5 and 12,000 DP, but it digivolves 1 from Beelzemon specifically. Not Beelzemon in name, so keep that in mind. This is insane, because that is very cheap. And then it also has when digivolving, is Digimon as Beelzemon or X Antibody and digivolution cards for every 10 cards in your trash. Trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. On deletion, you may play 1 Digimon card with Impmon in its name for your trash without paying its memory cost. The trashing security is just huge, because security blowing you out of the water with a deletion effect potentially is what kept the deck in check a bit in BT11 in the few short regionals that we got with it. But now this like easily clears that up. This helps your D-Reaper matchup so much, which is one of the things it was struggling into the couple of Ulti Cups it saw with limited color, or were those regionals. If anyone can confirm, I don't remember which of the 2 it was, but like it would always have a tough time into that matchup because you can't do anything to delete their gatekeepers, and if they get multiple out, either from playing them or because you check them in security, it's kind of GG. This now alleviates that a little bit by being able to trash your opponent's security and not worry about that. And it goes without saying, it applies to other matchups as well, so you don't have to worry about deletion effects and all that. It combos very well with your OTK, because with security attack +1 and the restand, you're able to just blow security like crazy. I have won games from 5 security on like turn 4. It's insane and pushes the deck to a way too good level. However, we have a lot of mill effects that you want to put in this deck and a lot of other utility level 6s to make sure we have comeback opportunities. So while it's incredibly good, it's still a level 6 that only digivolves for 1 from a specific card in its deck, so we can only fit it in at 2, because I think otherwise you're getting a little bit clunky. If you could fit in 3 and you're comfortable with that, we do have Mulligan now, I say go for it, but I felt like this ratio is the most balanced to not brick. Then we have the level 7 of the deck, Beelzemon Blast Mode. It digivolves 4 from a level 6, 14,000 DP. When this card is trashed from your deck, delete one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon. For every 10 cards in your trash, increase the highest level this effect can choose by 1, and that is its mill effect. Really useful to delete something in a pinch to make sure your opponent doesn't have lethal potentially, or to just set them back by accident when you mill it off the top of your deck. And then when Digivolving, unsuspend the Digimon. If you have 20 more cards in your trash, gain 1 memory. So this dude is also most of the time going to be coming in for only 1 memory. That is crazy. You could OTK off of like, well, not OTK, you know, but you can win the game in that 1 turn off of just 2 memory. And we're getting to the end of this profile, so we're wrapping it up with the options and tamers. First up is the new one introduced in the set, 7th Full Cluster. It's 7 memory, however, your turn, trash effect, which means it needs to be in the trash when this condition is met to activate. When one of your Digimon digivolves into Beelzemon X Antibody, by returning this card from your trash to the bottom of your deck, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. Main, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level, and security effect, activate this card's main effect. So the main 7 effect will come up in a pinch, but you won't be using it too often. You're going to be milling this very easily with how much you mill in this deck, so it will be ready in trash pretty frequently for Beelzemon X Antibody Digivolution. It's fantastic because the effect is twofold. Like, this is an amazing card because not only does it now also give your Beelzemon X Antibody technically a when digivolving deletion effect, it also helps you prevent deck out. It returns itself to the bottom of your deck to activate its effect, so that's 1 additional card away from decking out. And oftentimes you'll be at 0, put this underneath, and you bot yourself another turn. So it is a very useful card to have. You could definitely justify cutting this down to 1 because usually it's like a big momentum swinger, so you only really need the 1, and you're always going to be milling this more or less once you're at 30 in deck. And if not, maybe you don't even need it by then because you're probably going to win unless something goes horribly wrong in security. So 1 to 2 is definitely a justifiable ratio for this. Then we have missed memory boost. 3 memory, trash the top 2 cards of your deck and draw 1, and then delay, gain 2 memory, which means you can send it to your trash next turn to activate that gain 2 memory effect. In security, it places itself into the battle area. This is amazing in this deck because it's a consistency card that also gives you 2 memory that also fuels up your trash count. It's awesome. You get to trash the top 2 cards, they do activate their mill effects, you get to draw 1, and you get to gain 2 memory later to make sure you can extend your memory count for big plays. Then we have Death Slinger, 4 memory, and then when this card is trashed from your deck, gain 1 memory, huge. And then main, delete one of your opponent's level 4 lower Digimon. For every 10 cards in your trash, you increase the highest level this effect can choose by 1, and security activates the main effect. This is amazing because this starts scaling at the level 4 level. If you notice, Beelzemon X2 starts deleting something at the level 3 level. That difference is huge. The fact that this starts scaling from a level 4 and up makes this able to quickly delete a level 6 so early in the game, and for only 4 memory, it's amazing and doesn't ever feel bad to hardcast. It's an incredibly versatile card, which you could definitely, like, if you want to cut something down in this deck to up this to 4, go for it, because getting that extra chance to get an M memory off of the mill is also very good. It's an incredibly versatile card that really pushes the power level of this deck. Then we have another card introduced in the starter deck. This is Rivals Barrage, 7 memory. When this card is trashed from your deck, you may place it in the battle area. Main, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level. Main, delay, return 1 purple card or tamer card from your trash to your hand. And then security, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level. So when you pay 7 memory to use this card from hand, it does not put itself into the battle area. That is only from being milled off of the top of your deck. So do be careful and look out for that, and make sure you keep it in mind for yourself when you are using this in a game. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon at the highest level, which is usually going to be more helpful than the lowest level. And the effect to return a purple tamer or Digimon from your trash is huge. This is what I was talking about earlier, where I said the graveyard isn't exactly a second hand, but it is like a resource bank that you could occasionally pull out from. And you're going to mill this. This is 4 copies. You're going to mill it a lot. So you're going to have a lot of opportunities to grab back that piece you were missing because of this card and not feel too bad when you mill something off the top of your deck you were looking for. This card is amazing. I personally like upping it to 4 over Death Slinger for that consistency it adds to make sure I'm always like have a chance to grab something back that I might be missing. X Antibody, this one attacking lets us evo into Beelzemon X. It's really huge, and then also we have ways to grab it back so we're not worried about milling it too much. And finally we have Ai Mako. It's 3 memory, on play reveals the top 4 cards of your deck and adds 1 Digimon card with Evo, Wizard, or Demon Lord and its traits among them to your hand. Really good consistency card since it basically grabs almost anything in the entire deck, if not everything. I don't remember off the top of my head what it might not grab, but it grabs a lot. And then your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a purple Digimon, by suspending this tamer, return 1 card from your hand to the top of your deck and gain 1 memory. Amazing tamer, because this not only reduces your Digivolution cost, technically, you know, gaining 1 memory to make sure you keep turn with your plays. This also is another avenue to stack the top card of your deck and rig your mills to make sure you hit whatever you needed to off of that mill. So this is an incredibly useful tamer. I am running it at 2. I think you can justify it at, whoops. That is 3 copies. Sorry there. Thank God I caught that. But yeah, I am running it at 3 because it is an incredibly versatile tamer. Like if I see 2 of these in my opening hand, I do not feel bad because I am getting every piece I am missing, and then I am reducing. It is paying itself back in the late game, reducing by 2 every Digivolution and then stacking everything I want. It's huge. I love this card. You can maybe justify 2 just because like this deck has some other good consistency options already as well. But I personally love this card. I never feel bad seeing it in hand. And that is going to be the Beelzemon X deck. It is very fast and consistent, so definitely do not let your guard around this deck. Try to choke it as often as you can because they will be getting their memory back. I love it. I'm probably going to be maining it because I already thought Tamers is the best season of the anime anyways, and Beelzemon's one of the coolest designs in the history of the franchise, right up there with all of Vmon's armor evolutions. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know how you are building your deck differently, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, remember to stay hungry until you get a taste of victory.